Hi everyone. So really nice to see everyone. I'm joined here today with Angela Maynard, who's our champion at Restaurant Equippers. Um, and I'll let Angela, if you want to introduce kind of your role, kind of what you do. Lovely.
So I'm Angela Maynard. I'm the Director of E-commerce operations here at Restaurant Equippers. Nice to
Awesome.
see everybody. Nice to meet everyone.
And I'm Javier. I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades. I work in product. I work on go-to-market, so I'm a little bit everywhere. But yeah, so for today's, our first topic was, I know everyone, it's middle of October. Everyone's getting ready for, the peak seasons and the Cyber Mondays and, the Christmas holidays. So, um, what we wanted to do is have just an open conversation of kind of and I know that your business doesn't exactly align with the traditional holidays that we see like in apparel, but um, just on like how you're using new technologies or how we're partnering in periods of peak seasonality. So we obviously we've deployed things like an agentic solution on the website, and we're doing things like personalization. So would love to kind of have a conversation of how these new technologies and how you're adopting these technologies to give a unique, tailored experience to your customers. So with that being said, I'd love to kick this off, and we can start with our first question. Um, and I'll just read it out loud. So these times are tough, as everyone knows. So, given the macroeconomic challenges and the tariffs that are going on, and we just got a new set of tariffs from China this week. But what strategies is Restaurant Equippers, or what recommendations do you have to offer to other commerce brands to prepare for and kind of navigate well, these times, but also like especially as they overlap with peak seasons. So I'll
Sure.
hand the question to you, Angela.
Like you said, we're not necessarily big on the holiday season, but we're no stranger to having peak seasonality and really, trying to make the most of those times when you're having your peak moments with that traffic from your customers and trying to engage them. Obviously with the tariffs and, trying to combat that, increased focus on deals, to help counter the inflation. Restaurant Equippers has a heritage of offering everyday low warehouse prices, and so we're trying to maintain that, and that's difficult to do with it given the current state. But I think that's trying to help stay true to who you are, who your customers know you to be, and trying to just remain true to that. And that's really helped us so far to maneuver through these difficult times, and we're hoping that continues into the peak season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that actually when I go to your website, I see the everyday warehouse prices. I see that very prominent. So I'm sure that's a big differentiator, the message that you want to put out there. But obviously that's cutting into margin in your space. So
Yeah,
uh,
and I'm glad you said that about margin because really that's also somewhere the AI assistant helps with because we're able to promote some of our higher margin items within the shopping assistant. We have the capability of prioritizing those items that have higher margins. So even though we may need to sell some other items that may not necessarily get us those higher margins, it's nice to build our average order value with some other items as well that will help build that margin and keep us maintaining that through the peak season.
yeah. No, that's a great point that these agents that they're not just fetching products, right? They need to also follow a business strategy, as you said. So these agents have to be a slightly, we don't call them assistants anymore. Assistants, they just fetch.
Yeah,
Agents they need to follow, a business strategy. They have a purpose, and there's sort of a merchandising strategy that you can embed. So I'm glad to see that you guys are leveraging that for the high margin products, as that's, these times that's kind of what you're cutting, right? So awesome. Thank you for that answer. So kind of a great segue actually goes to our second topic. Um, you know, so in traditional, peak season, people are shopping with speed, and they want to get inspired, and attention spans really go down during that, when during that period. But what we've seen is that shopping agents really change the way that people shop. It's more of a guided experience. How do you see that playing out for restaurant equippers? Like, what's the role of guiding customers to the right products or right categories?
I mean, it's a truly novel way to guide customers, right? I mean, it's an ideal solution in a place where you really want to translate the experience that you have, whether it's within your stores or whether it's over the phone. You want to translate that to your website, and we've faced many challenges trying to do that. And I think, since we've had the shopping assistant, the shopping agent, it really helps us to bring that experience to the customer, bring not just the products that they may be looking for. They might engage and start asking a question about one particular product, and through the shopping agent, we're able to serve up other products that might meet their needs and get their attention. Where we believe before we would have dropped them from the conversion funnel at that point if we didn't necessarily have what they were looking for on that initial, say they use just on-site search, they may not find what they're looking for, they bounce and go somewhere else. With a shopping agent, it's really asking that next question and trying to keep them engaged and serving up additional products that might be along the line of what they're looking for, and ultimately building our conversion to be higher because we're not losing them so soon in the funnel, so soon in the purchase process.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a great way of also keeping them inspired and having, keep
Yeah,
clicking, and having, honestly, shopping should be entertaining, right? You should see products
right.
that are diverse and also speak to you and like, oh, that's interesting. Um, shopping is, as much as it's about finding the product, it's also about, it's a little emotional, it's entertaining. So that's
Even with
great
restaurant
to see.
equipment.
Great. So actually, that's also another great segue to, you know, how do we keep people engaged? I do want to demo maybe after your answer, but I want to show people like the agent that we have live on your site. But going into the playbook of equippers. So how do what could you say about how you're leveraging these agents or automation to anticipate what people want, or optimize their journey as they're shopping around, and keep the engagement high? How do you keep them entertained and inspired?
I mean, that's hard to do, but I think it was when we first, came on board with the idea of doing a shopping agent on the site. We at Equippers, we've seen like such a decrease in our call volume over the years, particularly in the past year. And our call center used to beat the sales online, because you get that engagement, you get that experience. It's just a whole different thing than going to a website and trying to maneuver on your own and trying to find, what you're looking for. And younger generations and general shopping behavior has really changed. And we needed to, address that and try to help to build that gap, bridge that gap between, those customers and, what we were doing on the site today. And we knew it was impacting conversion. It was, really, we weren't able to find the way to do it. We've tried so many things with creating experiences, and I think we're not unlike most retailers in that you try to create meaningful merchandising experiences, help tell the story of, product story throughout your site. And you can do all of that work and still just not be able to close that sale because you can't get to that point that they need, that question they wanted to ask that didn't get answered in your product data, the question that, didn't get answered through telling the story of the product, watching a video. These are the only things that we can do. And through using the shopping agent, that's where the difference came in, right? It's a game changer for us. So we're able to be that, shopping agent there beside them, helping guide them, helping to answer those questions, helping to even anticipate what their question might be next, and helping to go ahead and serve that up, ahead of time and be proactive. It's really been fascinating to watch. And obviously, we started early stages and we were like, what is this AI, this shopping agent? And now, we have so many of us in the business that just play around with it because we're just amazed at how fast it's growing and anticipating, the demand of the customer and the product discovery. And it's funny because it'll find out things that we didn't even know about a product, and we're like, did we ever tell it that? Like, we're going to look and see. Like, it's been just been really fun, and I hope the customer, and we believe the customer is getting some of that same excitement from it, and we're obviously seeing great results. We're seeing great conversion, increase in average order value. So clearly something's happening that's getting them jazzed up through that process and helping them to push through and to place their order and find what they're looking for to meet their needs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, it's in your industry, and maybe it applies to many others, but um, it's not like when buying a shirt, like the customer can be an expert. They know what a shirt is, but the people going to your site, they're probably buying this equipment maybe for the first time. They're starting a business, so they don't really know much about like how do you buy a reach-in refrigerator that's going to fit in my taco truck. It's something very so having that ability to reach out to them and give them that guidance, especially if they don't know what they're getting into, if they don't know what to buy, that's we potentially a super valuable offering. But what I wanted to do, maybe just for the sake of the viewers today, just I actually wanted to just quickly visit your site. So as you know, we have the shopping agents that's live, and that's tucked away here on the bottom left. But if anyone has a question, we were actually suggesting like what are the different things you could ask. Very specifically for you, it's not just finding the product, but also the context. I have a cafe and I need a specific appliance. But the idea is that you can just click on a question, you can ask anything. Blenders that are suitable for maybe a tiki bar that I'm about to open. So, we're not just fetching the products here. We're actually understanding like what is the context, what's the scenario, and of course we can also help with the next question. Maybe I have a specific brand in mind, or I need a specific size. So actually, I give a 50% success rate on predicting the next question they'll ask. So that saves them from typing. And then they can add to cart if they find what they want. If it was if it was a broader question, they could have, narrowed it down. So there's follow-up questions that the agent asks. And then what you were saying earlier is that it also doubles as, you know, um, a Q&A kind of agent, right? So I have questions about the specific blender, what's the operating voltage. So, people can feel free to ask questions about it, and if they're still undecided.
And this
So
page
yeah,
is
yeah, I
a
wanted
real
to,
game changer, right? Because the
yeah.
PDP, your product display page, this is our highest point of drop off on our website. And so if we can figure out what we're facing challenges with, what questions they have from this page, that changes the dynamics of all of our KPIs. So this is where the magic happens on our product page.
Yeah, anything we can do to nudge them once they're here, right? Anything is that's in
Absolutely.
absolutely, yeah. Um, Great, awesome. So, we have one more question left, and I kind of hinted on it in this question, but you know, the idea is that we're all also adopting personalization. That's probably, in my view, as a product guy, that's been the biggest breakthrough in the past few years. It's like getting away from the paradigm of let's build one website and hope it works for 340 million Americans. That everyone is actually unique. Every customer is unique, and they have their own mission and their own, and they might not necessarily express that going in. So we're really adopting personalization, and I wanted to ask you kind of, um, how do beyond just recommendations, like how do you see personalization? How do you see it go beyond just basic recommendations, but also making sure that you're delivering hyper personal experiences, to make the most out of those shoppers that are landing on your site during like peak seasonality. So what is the meaning of hyper personal experiences to you?
It's so funny because like when you think of personalization and the path, the journey that personalization's been on, it started with equippers by just having personalized recommendations on a product page. So viewed this, viewed that. If you're looking at a fryer, here's some more fryers. Here's some fryers that might be in the same brand or might be similar to the one you're looking at. Or, oh, you're looking at this, I might want to show you some accessories that might go with that. So if you're looking at a fryer, we might want to show you the gas hose that goes with it, things like that. And it quickly has turned more into, that hyper personalization. It's like, well, don't stop there. Like that gets you so far, yes. And those recipes are great and really help you to sometimes catch the attention of the customer and get them to engage with the additional product. But how do you take that a step further? And it's really, like the shopping assistant, shopping agent, it's like really thinking about, oh, I'm a food truck owner. Well, what type of food truck? There's 18 million different variations of food trucks. You could have a sandwich food truck, which is more heavy on like what prep table you need and, things like that, versus I have a pizza food truck or I have, there's so many different variations of it. And that's where the true hyper AI personalization comes in. It's like not stopping at, oh, here's some more fryers like you're looking at. It's like, here's, oh, you're doing a food truck. Here's all the different things that someone who wants to open a food truck might get for a pizza food truck. And really being able to serve that up. And that's like the vision of the future, right? How do you create even further that experience for them and get them to engage? And the next thing you know, they're ready to outfit their entire food truck with you because you're giving them that hyper personalization, or their catering business, their home baking business, whatever it is. Like we want to be that easy to shop with us. We're going to be able to get you everything that you need for your entire business. And we're not just going to stop at showing you some different fryers because we know you're interested in fryers. We want to show you everything that might meet your needs that we carry for you. So that's to me the game changer of hyper personalization and having something like an AI shopping agent to help support that for us.
No, that's amazing, and thanks for highlighting that. The traditional personalization, the one that everyone's actually familiar with, it's kind of what you said. It's like, I see you like a fryer, here's more fryers. I see you like blue, here's more blue. It's regurgitation, right? It's very one-dimensional, and kind
And
of
you
that's
still
not what
need
we need.
that, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but that's like the cost of doing business. Like that's your basic, a fundamental at this point. If you don't have that, you're not doing anything with personalization. But it's like, then how do you take it to the next level? Like we should all be next level by now. We shouldn't be playing with just having those carousels, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And um, you know, understanding the role or the business, which is actually something that we trained our agent to do. We fed it like, what are the different types of taco trucks, and so it's not just trying to help you to convert, but it's by displaying other products that would be relevant to that specific job or the business. You're actually improving AOV, right? Because you're showing, hey, you might also need this, and you need the prep table, and you need the refrigerator. So thank you for making that distinction. And that's really important. That's really what we mean by hyper personal experience. Is not it's not just that one the regurgitation, which is table stakes, but it's really understanding what else. Why are you here? Not just what you want.
We want to meet their needs, but we want to exceed their expectations. We want to give them everything.
So, that's nice, short and sweet. So, I mean, thank you so much, Angela. It was great having this conversation and kind of knowing kind of how your business sees, the agents. And I'm glad to see that, you guys were one of the first to get on board. So we love that.
First, it's
And
crazy.
and also on the role of, why it's so important to give customers that hyper personal experience, as if at the end of the day, that's the attention that we used to get on the phone or in person, right? Why does it have to be any different online? So, trying to bridge that gap, and so thank you for bringing that to life on how that's progressing on Equippers. So, I want to thank you so much for your time, Angela, and I want to thank everyone for joining today, and hope you thought it was useful. If you guys have any other questions on how the product works, on some customer stories, feel free to reach out directly. So I want to thank everyone again and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye.